Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining an OhioX webinar. We're just really excited for you to all be here with us today. AI, it's a topic that is just fascinating businesses and tech leaders across the state. And so today we're going to do a really interesting deep dive on AI at scale with our friends and partners at FAIR by Rackspace Technology, where we're going to learn a little bit more about use cases and lessons learned on doing AI at scale, just that. And so that's a fascinating topic because as everyone's trying to figure out this emerging technology, what it means, what its impact is, how it's impacting businesses across the globe, and certainly here in Ohio, doing it at scale seems to be one of the biggest questions out there. And so I'm fascinated to listen in myself and learn a little bit more today. My name's Chris Berry. I'm the president and CEO of OhioX. We're a statewide nonprofit technology trade association, and our members and partners are everything from startups to Fortune 500 businesses and everything in between. So small businesses, hospital systems, universities, research centers, and more. All of us are working collaboratively together to build Ohio's tech opportunity, the Silicon Heartland moment. And as part of that, AI is really leading and shaping so much of the conversation today. And so, again, I'm thrilled just to have this partnership that we have with FAIR and Rackspace Technology. With them this year, we have been doing a ton of work in the AI space, and they've been really the leader helping catalyze this all, where we've been doing forums and roundtables, talking with executives at the enterprise level to see how they are thinking about AI, how they're adopting it within their organizations, and how they're deploying it, hopefully at scale. And so in today's conversation, we have two executives that we are joined by. The first one up, I really want to welcome and really thank Ben Blancara, who's a vice president at Rackspace. He's really shepherding and leading this charge in our state when it comes to AI and helping us do this in cities like Cleveland and Columbus and Cincinnati and certainly beyond. And so, Ben, I just would love to welcome you to our virtual stage this morning. Thank you so much for your partnership. Thanks for all the work that you are doing and helping enable Ohio as we try to build out this tech opportunity and really be a leader on AI. So welcome this morning and thanks for being here.
Chris, thank you for your kind words. Good morning, everyone. Ben Blancara at Rackspace. We are thrilled to be able to partner with OhioX as we look at Ohio's opportunity to become a global leader in AI. And so our focus has been looking at AI adoption at scale. And why does that matter? It is only in production that you create value using AI. And what we're seeing is there are many companies that are moving from a pilot POC to scale. And when we think about scale, you start thinking about scalability. You think about security at scale. You think about reliability. You think about how do you make sure 7x24, 365, you don't have model drift, that you have observability. And by the way, that you get the ROI you want that matters. And so we're going to explore some of that, and we're going to explore a lot of that based on our own experience at Rackspace. And so we as practitioners and builders, we want to share our experience in hopes that it helps you all. So as we go through this, what would be helpful is, one, put your names and your companies in the chat so we know who's here, but also put questions in the chat. You know, if there's something specific you want to get out of today, put it in the chat. So with that, let me introduce my colleague, Ram Viswanathan. He is the CTO of AI at Rackspace Technology. Ram, take it away, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Ben. And I'm, as a former Buckeye, I spent about close 2 decades in Ohio. So good to be talking and working with our Ohio team there. We have been, as Ben mentioned, leveraging or using AI internally, implementing it, and not only just working internally, but we have also been working with our clients as well. So the experiences that I'm going to be sharing is a combination of the work that we have done with our clients. You heard about FAIR. We'll talk about that also a little bit, and also mainly focus on some of the key use cases and experiences. This is a study from McKinsey. You can see it in the footnote there. The adoption rate of AI and GenAI is increasing, and it's increasing in a very rapid fashion. But the key question is, where is it getting leveraged? How is it getting leveraged? Are we ready as an ecosystem from an organization, from our clients, and the overall ecosystem in which we are operating? Are we ready? The question and the answer is, it depends. There are several key factors that gets into implementing an AI solution in an organization. from the organizational culture to the employee readiness to the data readiness and the infrastructure. And of course, the most important question that gets asked these days is, what is the return on investment? If there is a IT budget and if there are significant amount of them is going into maintaining the existing IT infrastructure, where is the new investment coming from? How is the new investment going to help me? And what is the return on investment? So we will see some of those and some of the use cases that we have seen quite popular in the industry and within Rackspace. So as you can see, and as the earlier speakers alluded to, the AI has been around for a while, from the time the regression models as a theoretical concept emerged to the IT solutions. This has been around for a while, the regression models, the neural networks, so on and so forth. What really caught the attention of the entire world in a way is the LLMs and the ability for it to generate content on its own. That's where this whole GenAI notion coming in. What can you develop via GenAI? I think the list keeps growing, from the text generation to images to videos to audios to documenting summaries. There's a whole slew of GenAI capabilities that are growing, and it will continue to take faster and faster momentum in terms of what it can develop and what it can do for us. The question is, foundationally, as the technology is evolving and the capabilities are growing, how can we use it to the better of the humanity, better of the organizations that we all work in? When we look at how it's being used, it's generally used in three broad areas. One is about employee productivity, internal optimization of how the processes are done. That's one bucket of activities, and that's where majority of the work is happening today. And then the second set of activities is, how can we improve customer experience? Can we reliably provide a better customer experience? Can we have them look at their queries, their information in a better, faster, secure manner, in a cleaner fashion? So that is also picking up momentum. And the third area where it is just getting started is innovative offerings. Can I come up with newer offerings, newer ways of doing business in such a way that I leapfrog from my competition? So internal process optimization, customer experience, improving the customer experience, and then innovative products or capabilities. As you can see, what we do with FAIR, as it was mentioned early on, is it's about how do we work with our clients. There are three phases in which we work with our clients. We call them as ideate, incubate, and industrialize. I quickly, just a minute on this. Ideate is where we understand where our clients are in the AI readiness journey, and what kind of use cases, what kind of challenges that they are tackling, and how can they be prioritized. So that's what we do in the ideate phase in a very quick fashion, in an iterative way. And then we take that and then incubate. So how can we create a solution for this? Is it really going to help the way we perceived in the ideate session? That's the, again, an incubate that happens between anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks. We learn lessons, we iterate if we have to, but then cook the concept and then ensure that, okay, it is ready for industrializing. And that's where we are going to focus today. How can we take something that we thought of, we incubated it, and then how can we move it to production so that the enterprise across geographies, across many functions can really use it and leverage and ensure the benefits are seen and gathered by the organization and all the folks who are involved in that ecosystem. And how do we do this? It has the key pillars of our FAIR approach is a responsible AI. You need to have solutions that are responsible to the key stakeholders. There's so many questions that are coming around the data privacy, security, ensuring that is done. And it is done in a sustainable way. It's not just about doing a POC. How do you ensure there are day-to operations that can be done well? And it needs to be an extension of what we do. It needs to optimize what we do. It needs to accelerate what we do. But at the same time, it needs to work with humans, not without. So those are some of the things that we think of. And some of the assets that we bring to the table is some of a bank of use cases that we have seen, and we are continuously improving and optimizing them. There are diagnostic tools that we have that are automated along with the humans who will help run those tools and then help you visualize a landing zone that is secure and that is scalable. There are assets that the Rita and ICE are the assets. Some of the things that we have done internally that we are taking to our clients. And the third one is still in work there. And our go-to-market approach with this is the ideate, incubate, and industrialize, as you just saw in the earlier slide. With all of this, what we have been able to do is we have, in the last 18 plus months, maybe closer to 24 months, we have worked with 50 plus clients, 51 client wins that we have had. And several of them are new people who have onboarded into the AI journey with a 100% success rate. So what is it that we are seeing in the market space? We are seeing there is an entire spectrum of solutions that are coming up. Some are ready, off-the-shelf products that are out there from Salesforce and ServiceNow of the world that gives you the entire platform to the application. We have layered them in 5 layers there, but all of that is provided by some of the vendors out there. And then you gradually work your way from left to right. And in terms of what we see is, can you provide, just like the co-pilots or the chat GPTs, can you provide me everything that I need? I build my own application in such a way that I customize it. And then can I build my inferencing on top of it and then build my application? As you move to the right, what you see is the work that you do, or quote unquote, the development that you do can be more fine-tuned to an organization's need, and also safely and securely ingest the data that you have in a very secure fashion, and ensure that your data is not used by the general purpose vendors to optimize their tools. And there are privacy concerns that are out there, as we can all see. But as you work through the spectrum, you ensure what is your safe landing zone for you. That is based on the security requirements and the data privacy requirements that we talked about, and also, of course, the ROI conversations that needs to happen within the organization to realize what is the right choice for me. We work with our clients across the spectrum, and some of the examples that you will see is some of the things that we have leveraged the tools, and some of the things that we have custom developed. So crawl, walk, run is a analogy that we have all heard. I, as a marathoner, know the pains of getting through to the run from the days of my crawl. But you want to ensure that you understand what is the feasibility of implementing something, and what is the impact of that to the organization. Impact can be calculated in multiple ways, but we can generally call them as a return on investment there. And feasibility is how easy or how hard is it, and what kind of effort that it's going to require within an organization in terms of organizational culture, employee readiness, and of course, the budget requirements and whatnot to be able to implement the solutions. As you look at this 2x2 chart here, you want to ensure that you start with the impact focus. The feasibility needs to be relatively easy, and the impact needs to gradually improve. There are some examples here of what we can do, from tinkering with some small use cases, learning along the way, to building some things that are starting to give you higher impact in terms of call center automation and so on and so forth. And then you slowly move up in terms of the time and the money that is required to implement, so that you start running, which is deep integration within the enterprise in such a way that there are some processes that can be optimized and the work can be automated in terms of working with the humans, and then automating some of those, but still have human in the loop to ensure the quality and the final control relies with the humans. Now I'm switching gears into some of the use cases. We are going to be talking about 4 use cases here that gives you a view of some of the things that we have seen in the market space. The first one is about how can I automate code here? We had a situation where the Java code that we had and the Python code had to move up in terms of the versions for a variety of reasons, right? For the capabilities that the newer JDKs or the Pythons offer, or in terms of the support, and just ensure that you are up to the times. So we used the code generation capabilities to internally look at and take an audit of the various projects that we have. And the 2 areas that we zoomed in was upgrading the JDKs and also moving up in terms of the Python versions. We automated that, and you can see the kind of savings that it gave. In terms of the employee productivity, it greatly improved the ability, and also not only just the development process, including in terms of the testing, in terms of the bugs, and how the entire life cycle of upgrading of these JDKs and Python versions greatly optimized and improved the productivity for the coders, the programmers, the entire teams that were there on the field doing it to a very large extent. The next one is about, this is a work that we did with one of our clients, where they were receiving lots of queries from their customers, 250K emails. The emails was looked at manually by a 50+ person team to categorize them, either go through the research internally and then add additional material so that the folks who are working on these tickets can resolve them and then respond back to the client. And the entire process of just categorizing, vetting the internal mails, there are 250K mails per month. You can do the math there in terms of the number of emails per workday. And they had a lot of labor working just to process, categorize, and then route them to the necessary resolve areas. What we were able to do was to automate that first review, analysis, and looking at the knowledge base, adding the data that is required so that the tickets can be processed, again, by a human in the loop. But then the entire classification, weighting, and categorization was greatly improved. The numbers may vary from what it used to take a day and a half to less than a few minutes for the tool to do it, with a human to finally approve that, and then it gets into the necessary bucket. Not only just the classification of the email, but also the email along with the necessary knowledge from the knowledge base that the repository that the organization has, so that the tickets, whoever is manually looking at it, knows exactly the knowledge base that they had to look at. They, in many cases, just review what was out there and approve it. It improved the productivity and the resolution time by a great number. The 3x support that you see out there, how it improved, and also in terms of our ability to respond back. This worked both internally in terms of process improvement and productivity gains, and also worked in customer experience, their own ability to get to the resolution faster. This is a successful implementation, which customer is greatly thrilled, and it's rolled out across their enterprise. The third one is something that we have done internally. This is about how can we enable the knowledge repositories that are out there within the organization in various silos to be able to get to in a very fast fashion, in a very quick fashion. The sales teams routinely go through or their examples or their templates. How do I develop a statement of work? How can I respond back to the queries? If there are various queries that are coming from our clients with a point of view queries, or responding back to some of the codes that are asked, RFQs and RFPs, and how can we respond to them properly? So the sales team had a variety of tools every organization has, but they were in several knowledge repositories, and based on your knowledge, your experience, your colleagues' help, you're able to get to them. Sometimes it used to take quite a bit of time, and sometimes you tend to miss out. We were able to look at all the repositories, bring them all together in an easier fashion, so that in a conversational mode, the sales folks were able to look at it. The same thing goes for some of the HR policies and procedures. How can the employees query them without having to open a ticket, without having to dig through, without having to struggle through many places where the information may be available? And the same thing goes to marketing and legal. So this is about harnessing the knowledge repositories that are out there. And in every organization, as it grows, there tends to be multiple knowledge repositories and multiple ways of representing them. We were able to coalesce them, and through a conversational mode, help the various stakeholders get to the information that they were looking for, and provide them additional information if that would help them to get to do their business faster. This is again about automating some of the policies and the ticketing, the help desk, right? This is about if I have a challenge with my laptop, how can I either resolve it, either a thing that I can resolve quickly myself, or a ticket needs to be generated. We were again looking through how it was done earlier to how it can be greatly optimized with GenAI tools. And we have implemented solutions that will first give you the tools that can help you solve yourself, if not help you create the ticket. And once the ticket is created, it helps you understand where exactly is the ticket within the process that it needs to go through, and then gives you the entire history and the visibility in a 24/7 mode, in a conversational mode. Of course, the ticketing system is in the back end having all of those knowledge, but we were able to integrate with the systems of record, to call it that way, and get to the information in a very user-friendly manner, quicker, faster, better, from whatever chat tools that your organization might have. These are some of the use cases. So as you can see here, from customer-centric improvements to improving the employee productivity to accelerating some of the processes, there's a spectrum of work that's done to improve the optimization of work, how the work gets done, number one, and number two, how the customer experience. So we have seen some use cases here. Now, having said all of this, what are some of the challenges that are still out there, right? The challenges are, as the industry is growing fast, the chat GPT that we were all introduced to when GenAI broke into the limelight to where it is today, there has been significant changes in terms of its own capability. The whole AI, GenAI space is growing fast. We all have heard about NVIDIA and how it's the darling of the market right now, but there are lots of work that is happening about NVIDIA and in the complete ecosystem that pushes the envelope, and the technology pace is not going to reduce anytime around. How do we keep up with it? These are some of the things that we see in the market space. There are talent gaps that exist. These talent gaps can be remediated through education, through experience, learning and sharing like these, and actually doing the work. That's where and the real experience is gained. But there is severe gap across various levels that needs to be consciously worked on to remediate. And as people see the ability of GenAI tools to create content, and we have seen in the market space about the whole intellectual property and personal data. As they say, your data is as good as the security that your organization provides, and it's perhaps one firewall away, or there are, in fact, tools that Google provides for you to go check in the dark web about yourself as to what kind of data that is floating around. With GenAI, these kinds of concerns are getting exacerbated. There are more concerns around this. And then, of course, there are a variety of governmental organizations trying to put some guardrails around that. But that's an area of data privacy that's going to be significantly out there. And in several governments, several bodies are looking to do that. I was reading up about what's the California AI amendment is coming in. They are coming up with significant rules in terms of liability, in terms of transparency, in terms of how we can. So this is an area that's fast evolving, but there are quite a few work that's happening, and there are concerns out there. Of course, the CIO budget and the return on income. As they say, 80% of the budget, give or take a few percentage, goes to keeping the lights on function. Can I do better within that? And then how can I invest in newer projects in terms of innovative projects? So return on investment is an important consideration. It's no longer skunk works or done just to internally understand the technologies. It's about how do I scale them into production? How do I industrialize? And then how do I have value that come out of the time, money that I'm investing into something? And that translates to having impactful use cases. There needs to be an understanding of what are the challenges, how can I optimize, and what are these use cases? Again, we went through the 2x2 matrix there to see what's the return on investment and how can I quickly realize some value for the money that I'm going to be investing. So the return on investment is an important area that they need to work on. And organizational culture, right? Organizationally, it's not just about doing technology for the technology's sake, but the employees and the entire ecosystem need to be brought along so that these implementations can be successful. Some of these can look like motherhood and apple pie kind of deal, but these are the things that repeatedly happen with any technology that bursts into the market. And as its adoption or as its implementation or as its absorption into the main work comes into force. This is a same representation of the same context. So I'm not going to dwell much into this. But what I will call out here is, what are some of the key considerations here? We talked about the skill gap that exists. We talked about doing technology, not just for the technology's sake, but how does it really help me do something better, different, and faster? It is integrating your AI technology into the business that is the need of the hour. I think from the earlier lab works, it needs to move into a return on investment and having business value conversations. And of course, it's not just about thinking of this from a limited POC pilot perspective, but also industrializing it. That's where the real budget, the real recurring expenses that come into play, and what it takes to support, not just on day 0 or day 1, it's about the day 2 operations. And of course, when we do all of this, we need to ensure the privacy, security, and we do it in a responsible way. We talked about the data privacy. We talked about the security. Is it one click away into losing everything? And there are conversations that like that we have seen. The guardrails that we put on to the solutions is as important as the kind of work that we do. So the testing and the responsible way in which we look into infusing AI into the business processes is quite critical. What are some of the characteristics of a successful GenAI implementation? We talked about some of these already. We are summarizing that here. Now, coming to the technology part of it, we want to have options. We don't want to increase the technical debt by locking us into a flow, a vendor. There needs to be a way in which we are able to look at what are some of the things that we are using and how much are we tied into. This is, again, a conversation that many IT organizations continuously have in terms of how do they look at spreading the risk or spreading the options, having options in terms of how they implement. So the same thing that goes into here as well. And it needs to be adaptable, right? As they say, future-proofing is a risky conversation or a risky venture, but you, to the extent possible, you want to have a crystal ball and gaze into what could happen and then see how you can plan for this. Of course, the affordability, we talked about the day 1 to day 2 operations and how do you move beyond. It's not just about the day 0 operations. You need to ensure that on an ongoing basis, you're able to roll it into production and sustain the cost that is incurred, whether it is the infrastructure cost, it is the maintenance cost, or the employees required to support them. Of course, you do all of them in a very responsible way, which we have already addressed, and it needs to be on an ongoing basis and the day 2 operation. So these are some of the characteristics of successful solutions. Here again, depending on the crawl, walk, run, you want to gain your experience in implementing production grade in a scale of operations that you work in a crawl, walk, run mode, add more and more applications into your portfolio and build on the knowledge base that you have. Some takeaways, it's going to be, I'm wrapping up here in a minute here. These are some of the key takeaways from some of the experiences and some of the last 25 minutes of the conversations here. Understand the business need. ingrain AI into your business process. Think of AI as a new technology that going to continuously innovate in the coming months and years, and how can it do how can it make the life of the employee better and all the stakeholders, employees, customers, and innovative products, right, that we talked about. And it's important to understand the 360-degree view of implementing AI solutions. What are the capabilities that are required, and prepare the employees and prepare the organization and even your customers, ready all the stakeholders, so that AI solutions can be successfully created, implemented, and leveraged for the reason for which we are doing it. And of course, selecting the right set of tools. We talked about how you don't want to get locked in. You want to have options, but the tools and the foundations are also important. Currently, these tools are evolving, are improving, and are getting better. But it's important that you look at what's available and what's coming down the pipe, and create a set of tools so that you're able to develop these codes, manage them, maintain them as your AI portfolio grows within an organization. From AI being a new technology, very soon and very fast, AI will become part of your IT development infrastructure. Just like I am dating myself here. When the web technologies were coming up, the infrastructure at that time was based around mainframe technologies or client-server technologies. But nowadays, web is the technology that we talk about, and web and mobility have all taken main stage. Similarly, AI will also get integrated into the main infrastructure of the organization, but you want to do it in a way in which there are options for you. And of course, education, cross-training, reskilling, all of this is out there. You want to look at the impact of AI into the ecosystem and take it in a way that you're able to work with the existing workforce in terms of upskilling, reskilling, whatever is required to see how we can get onto the AI bandwagon in a responsible way. And of course, ethical use is big, and we have already seen how some of the major vendors are stopping their work on projects that can be used for nefarious purpose. There are many dimensions to this conversation, but when it comes to enterprises, how can all of this be done in a responsible and ethical way? And all of us who are in the IT industry or working for organizations need to put that glass so that we are able to incubate a technology and industrialize it in a responsible way. We owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to the larger society in which we all are living in. With that said, I'm going to wrap my conversation here. Happy to take any questions or any conversations. In fact, if there are folks who would like to share their experiences and reflect on them, welcome that as well. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? I'm sure you got questions. Okay. There's a question from Ram. Have you seen organizations take a proof of concept approach to implement AI solutions quickly and validate the value benefits to justify further investment?
Good question. We talked about ideate, incubate, and industrialize. Incubate is the time, you can say 6 to 8 weeks. That's the ballpark here, depending on the use case that you select. It can take less or more, but you're absolutely right. POC is a right way to look at, okay, this is the idea that I have. does it smell the way I thought it would smell? You quickly do a POC and then see whether it feels right for you, and then think that it has the return on value that you expect it would. By running it through some of the key stakeholders in a very limited fashion, you can even do a very, very limited pilot of that without incurring too much cost, but then getting that user feedback, and then see if you have to refactor your use case or do something else and then something different. Definitely POC or incubating your idea in a very quick time frame and then iterating it through is a very good approach.
Yeah, I would also suggest, Ram, that what we've seen is there are companies who will analyze themselves to death and never actually get off the starting line. And
The balance, correct, yeah.
That I think is sort of the challenge. So I think strategically, if you believe, what we've seen is companies that if they believe that AI isn't going to is fundamentally going to change the way things work in their industry, and that the starting lines have been set, this is actually a great opportunity to get ahead of the competition because it's emerging in terms of value proposition. And what we've also seen is that the biggest results aren't in the AI itself; it's in changing of workflows. And I think that's where a lot of the sort of visioning needs to happen. Like, how can workflows change as a result of AI? And that's what we're seeing is where the biggest values are.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Oh, let's see, Irvin. Has Rackspace developed a set of use cases that the market can save time and effort? Ultimately, CIO's budget can either go up or down based on investments.
We do have a set of use cases in our website. That's one of the use case repository that we have. They can be to various levels of depth and reuse capabilities, but glad for everyone to go take a look at it and leverage them as you see fit in your organization. That could accelerate, that could get you a little bit of a head start as you look to think of the areas of application that are feasible within your organization. Use case repository is one. And then there is also in our website, we have a list of client work that we have done as examples. Those videos and the references could also spark some curiosity in terms of the relevance of that to your business.
Yeah, Ram, I would also suggest that with the enterprise knowledge sort of use case, as well as the automation, service desk automation, we have created a platform essentially internally at Rackspace that is agnostic of LLM. We've created a framework that we built that it has the administrative sort of control functions, that has prompt management in it, that is controlled from an identity sort of perspective. And so what we're doing now is we're taking that framework and we're helping implement that at various customers in a pro-serve sort of engagement. The theory here is we're taking our IP and what we've learned from a platform. This is how you architect, and here's all the decisions you can make. And it's an accelerator for many companies because many companies, they've got lots of folks doing POCs, simple POCs. What they haven't done is thinking about how do you do that at scale and how do you do repeatable at scale. And so what we're doing now is we're implementing this framework in a professional services engagement with many of our customers. And what's happening now is the theory here is we implement it, you own it. It's not a SaaS platform that we're going to, sell to you. We're just giving you our IP essentially and our framework, and then you run with it and you can extend it. So that's really Urban sort of our approach now is this notion that, we'll get, our world is about being able to do things at scale and doing things repeatably and doing things optimally. And so that's where our sweet spot is. And then we're now implementing that. Does that help, Irvin? Okay.
Yeah. Everyone says yes. Yeah. Great question, Erwin.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, just a couple thoughts. As you all think about going to scale, there's sort of like 4 platforms I think about. There's the data ops platform. Where's the source data and what's your operational sort of structure around that, right? Then there's sort of the AI ops platform, which is your models and how do you control that and how you deploy it. Then your platform engineering. What is your architecture associated with how you connect everything together at an enterprise basis? And then the fourth one to me is what's your people platform? What is your org change platform and all the pieces? So when I think about doing things at AI at scale, what I've observed is that the platform, you need to think about things in platforms to allow for scalability. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, let's see. All right. Well, I think what's going to happen is this webinar is recorded. It will be available for use after. Please contact us as if we can help you on your journey. Happy to share our lessons learned. We're thrilled to be able to partner with OhioX as we look about scaling at enterprises, and happy to help.
Thank you.
Ram, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. It's great to be in the Buckeye land again. Thank you.
Go Bucks.